Hey, it's Jordan with Status Coup. Delighted to be joined by Seth Goldstein. You are an attorney who has worked for the Amazon workers in Staten Island pro bono for their union campaign. You were one of the driving forces, helping them, guide them in terms of filing complaints with the National Labor Relations Board. After Amazon has basically tossed the legal books aside and broken all sorts of labor laws. And now they are victorious at the JFK 8 warehouse and setting their eyes on the next election on April 25th. Before we get into what Amazon has done post ALU, the Amazon Labor Union's victory, I just want, from your point of view, the significance of that victory, because you are definitely a student of labor history.
Thank you. I believe this is the greatest victory since the 1937 UAW strike against GM. I say that with all humility because there have been good victories by labor since then, but nothing as fundamentally as important as Amazon, which is the second largest employer in the United States. And hopefully this will reinforce the organizing activity that's gone on. I believe in digital tech, Starbucks, and will be unstoppable because that's our goal, which is to expand labor and to increase power of working people.
Absolutely. And, it seems to me that Amazon's complaint or, trying to contest this election, claiming that the Amazon labor union workers were threatening workers or coercing them, it seemed like a lot of projection because as you have followed and helped the workers, Amazon was threatening and coercing workers all along to try and stop them from voting yes for a union.
Since the day Chris got to the bus stop, there's been just relentless union busting and violations of law. I've been working with ALU for a year, and I've amassed like over 50 complaints against the employer. And at every step of the way, they violated the law, whether it's surveillance, interrogation, captive audience meetings. They've been going after employees, and it doesn't seem like they particularly care about observing the law that all of us have to follow.
Absolutely. And can you kind of talk about since the victory, there is an election coming up across the street. I think that warehouse has about 1,500 workers. I've been seeing more more signs being taken down, vote yes signs being taken down by Amazon across the street. They took down signs that featured the national settlement between Amazon and the ALU, where Amazon had to notify workers of their labor rights. There's been reporting that they have, again, been threatening workers inside that warehouse that's soon to vote. Can you kind of talk about the latest activity on the fact that on the behalf of Amazon?
Yeah, so after the election, all the union busters crossed the street and went to LDJ5. They've been taking down the banner, disciplining employees for carrying the banner. The banner is the ALU sign. It's not attached to the walls. Workers are holding it, but that's not good enough for Amazon. They just don't want workers to have any rights. They've taken down our posting of the National Settlement Agreement. They've disciplined one of our lead worker organizers for talking about the union, even though people talk about sports, politics. They can talk about voting no, but when it comes to voting yes, they discipline our employees, and we filed several NLRB charges on those issues as well.
And it's interesting to me they're doing this. I mean, forget the legality for a second. I agree that it's violations of labor law, but I feel like a lot of this union busting backfired on them in JFK 8. I covered a press conference last week where Pat, who works at Amazon, he at first wasn't really engaged in the union effort, but after he saw Amazon calling the NYPD and arresting Christian Smalls and two other organizers, that led him to start actively campaigning for a union, and he flipped hundreds of votes from a no to a yes. Does Amazon think just doubling down on the same strategy is going to be effective? What do you think in terms of what they're doing? It seems like it would be helpful turning more workers to a yes?
Well, they always do the wrong thing. That's the problem with Amazon. They instead of improving working conditions for employees, they want to pay union busters $3,200 a day. They want to, engage in the same activities that they engaged in at JFK 8. So we do think it's backfiring. But I also want to talk about what we're facing. We're not only facing Goliath and King Midas, we're also facing some elements of the Democratic Party. So unfortunately, Amazon has been abetted by the Global Strategy Group organization, which is a major polling outfit for the Democratic Party. And we found that they were involved in their website and even attended captive audience meetings along with Amazon. So how sad it is that this firm was working hand in hand with such union busters as Rebecca Smith, Brad Moss, who basically called Chris Smalls a thug. So we're facing all these problems.
Right. Absolutely. And that polling firm, which by the way has done polling for Biden's campaign in 2020. They've done polling for the New York governor, Kathy Hochul, and a whole lot of other Democrats. They suddenly disavow and backtracked on doing any work for Amazon. But, there's plenty of others in the Democratic Party still using them. Similarly, a lot of the leaders in the Democratic Party have said nothing on this victory, including Nancy Pelosi.
So we're going a step further. We put up a petition saying that the Democratic Party should drop Global Strategies Group. We don't care whether they apologize or not. They can apologize to DeQuan Smith that's homeless in the Bronx. They can apologize to Gerald Reisman, who got a favorable decision yesterday. So Democrats lose elections when they support union busters and big tech and big pharma. So we are saying, cut your ties with them. We don't need to be working with this type of organization. And by the way, I challenge any reporters to ask Nancy Pelosi if she will sell her $25 million in Amazon stock if Amazon refuses to bargain in good faith with ALU.
Or ask her, do you support the Amazon workers organizing? Because she hasn't said anything about the victory.
Absolutely. She has not reached out. Biden has. And we're going to need the support of the federal government to pressure Amazon into bargaining. Otherwise, they're going to feel that they can just co-opt the system like they usually do.
And can you kind of talk about the National Labor Relations Board a little bit? Because people hear that and kind of their eyes roll over. But the National Labor Relations Board, which is basically supposed to be the referee here, notoriously, it's been underfunded. And they have a lot more work to do with the Starbucks unionization, strikes happening with workers all over the country, and now Amazon workers' victory. And, it could be a tidal wave of Amazon warehouses filing for a union. Are you happy with the NLRB's latest work? They have, by all accounts, they were professional and helpful during this election. What should people know about the NLRB's role here?
I think the NLRB has been fabulous in the work that they've done, but they're limited financially, and they need an increase from Congress. The numbers have been cut significantly since the Rob board, and I do think that it would help a lot if they had adequate personnel. Ironically, Amazon was complaining about the same thing when they were talking about the line during the vote. They said there's not enough personnel. Well, we challenge Amazon. Let's call out together that Congress adequately fund the National Labor Relations Board.
Right. Absolutely. And my last question is to you, because you've seen a lot of labor losses. What is the significance here? Because I think whatever people classify themselves as progressive, conservative, whatever, there's liberal, there's conservative folks in unions all over the country. There's progressive, conservative folks that are working class that used to be able to, feed a family and work one job, have a vacation, and now they're working two, three jobs or Ubering on top of work. What does this say if this movement of Amazon warehouses can continue to win elections, unionize more warehouses? What does that say in terms of the labor movement in general? Can we be looking at no longer waiting for a political solution, but workers taking it into their own hands?
There'll never be a political solution unless there's worker power. We're not here to elect Democrats or Republicans. We're here to unionize Amazon. And we think that this is a great start in that type of campaign, because only with worker power can we address some of the systemic inequality, racism, and elitism that's plagued this country.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for all you've been doing, because you have a full-time day job and have been doing pro bono for Amazon Labor Union. So you're one of the silent heroes in this story. Seth Goldstein, we'll keep in touch.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching, and make sure to tune in to Status Coup's daily live stream Monday through Thursday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time and Fridays at 4 o'clock Eastern Time.